Hello, I am here again, 2 days in a row. Woohoo! Oh, I forgot to put my cloaking device here, which I will do on my extra laptop, which now has all my ukulele chords on it. I don't see anyone actually saying anything to me in the chat, so I'm not sure if I've actually started or if I'm just imagining it. I'm going to check the patron group here. Looking up. People are saying hello to me. Okay, so good morning. It's not really the morning anymore. It's almost noon. I've got a couple hours here, and the project for today is a TensorFlow.js classification project. So just to recap, I was here yesterday, and I did a couple coding challenges, if I recall correctly. There was the, let's open them up. I haven't uploaded the code yet, actually, but let's just, they were so nice. I really liked them. So let's take a minute to review them. I have a feeling we're going to spend the entire 2 hours cleaning data. If that's what happens, that's going to be worth it, because that's kind of, I was going to say half the battle, but I think it's all of the battle in machine learning is really thinking about your data. Open recent. Oh, you know, I moved everything. I don't know why I'm looking for this. I just want to run these. I enjoyed them so much yesterday. And I'm going to go here. I think I put them in here. What were they? Sand piles. What was the other one? I don't even remember. Sand piles. What was it? Somebody's going to tell me before I forget. Oh boy, I think my brain is turned off today. This is bad. Oh, Barnsley Fern, that's right. I couldn't remember that. Sand piles. Where did the sand piles go? Let's look at the sand piles. All right, here we go, sand piles. Let's reduce the size here. Beautiful sand piles. Oh, let's do this. You know, while people are taking their time joining here, gotta make that Barnsley's Fern, Simon's All right. Let's see. Somebody sent me, Kay Weekman sent me some chords for Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Oh, I have to provide my email to get a free trial. What if I refresh this page? There we go. What's E minor? This? Ooh. Okay. All right, so I'm just getting myself kind of mentally into shape. We've got our sand piles. I meant to zoom in on these. Good morning. Hello. Good day. Good day. I wish you good day. I'm not prepared. I'm not ready for this. All right, so let's check out where we are. Let's get ourselves centered and figure out what we're going to work on. So I'm going to go to github.com/codingtrain. I am going to go to this crowdsource color data repository. Oh, there's some new pull requests. Okay, and all right. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to this page. So this is where we were yesterday. And many people from the community made some pull requests and changed the design. I think that's brown. I think that's like greenish, pinkish. All right. So this is my crowdsourced color data example. What's going on here? I need some tape. And so this is what I need. Now, I also need to go to, so the next video in this tutorial sequence, I am going to talk about cleaning the data. And so what I'm going to do is actually, I think I'm going to write, I was going to just download it directly from Firebase database. So, so I need to talk about the rules that were updated. And I think what I'm going to also do is I'm going to turn off writing. So can I put a comment in here? No. Is there any way to put a comment in? I wonder if this will work. If I change this to false, and then temp, like for writing, publish. Like, well, let me, error saving rules. So it needs expect line 8. Expected curly bracket. I guess I just need to take this out. Just do false and. How do you know all this, me, I am, so me? How do you know all this? Okay, so let's go back to write false and. So now I changed the rules of the database. If I go here, hit refresh, and try to click greenish, great. Permission denied. All right, so I just wanted to shut off writing to the database temporarily, I guess. Why not just leave it on? Let's leave it on. That's so unlike me. Let's make sure it's back. That looks bluish to me. Great. All right. So I need to talk about the data. The data. So what I'm going to do in this video, and let me get a sketch going that reads the data. So if P5 TensorFlow crowdsource color, let's see, clean data. Let's open up terminal. I did not sleep well last night. No, did not sleep well last night. This evening I will be attending Harry Potter and the Cursed Child on Broadway. Very excited about that. No spoilers, although I kind of know what's going to happen anyway, since I have read the play. What am I doing? Okay, desktop, P5 TensorFlow. No? Oh, I want to be in desktop. Oh, this is not boding well. Yeah, P5. There we go. All right, let's go to here. So I've got Firebase. I've got this. I want to go to here, closed. I want to reference this one. Okay. And of course, the camera goes off right now. I don't know know why I don't see the YouTube chat. There we go. So Adam and a half in the chat asks, can we contribute to the crowdsourcing? So yes, I kind of would say like hold off right now as I'm going to use what is currently there for the purpose of today's live stream. But of course, I'm glad for it to continue to be improved, and then I will come back in future live streams potentially and reference it. Is the sound okay today? I just want to make sure the microphone's not peaking. I suppose I could listen to my own sound. I could listen to my own voice. Just to find out. Test 1, 2. Test, test. Test 1, 2. I think it sounds fine. Okay. Okay. And so. So then what I need to do is I want to go to clean data here. And I want to open up the Atom editor. I got to have a workflow day, a day just to like redo all my workflow stuff. Clean data. Okay. I'm going to get to some actual content in a moment. Okay. Firebase. Let's go shiftman.net A to Z, Firebase. So I think I have all the URLs I need. And then retrieve data. Push, callback. I'm just looking for retrieving data. If only somebody would make a tutorial on retrieving data from Firebase, then I would know how to do it. Hello, Meyer. Thank you, sponsor Meyer, in the chat. Uh-oh. I think Coding Garden with CJ is happening right now. Oh, no, in 30 minutes. I'll be done by then. I'll be done by then, right? Reference on, got data, air data. All right, this is going to do well. OK. I think I want once, right? I just want to use the once function. What did Panzer on GitHub use to retrieve the data? Load data, then show loading. Where's the load data function? Return database, once. That's what I want, once. I don't know why I have this on. I want once. OK, close enough. OK. OK, whoops, I've totally lost the chat and everything here. All right, once value callback is good. Yeah, you know, so me is asking not just going to export it from the console. So that was my original plan, was to export it from the console and then like bring it into a Google Doc spreadsheet and then like, you know, clean it there. But then I realized I think I might actually be better at cleaning it from JavaScript itself, because what I could quickly do is just like do like a count. I could visualize it. So I think I want to do just the first. So in this series, which is just to kind of remind myself where I am, if I go to the coding train and I go to neural networks and machine learning, I think I am at this point in session 7, which is building a classifier with TensorFlow.js. And so So far, what I have done is I just did, I think, 1 or 2 kind of short tutorials about crowdsourcing the data. And I also wanted to reference somebody, maybe the Slack channel can help me out with this. Someone sent me a message, I believe in the Patreon Slack channel yesterday, referencing a video about research into human perception and color that seemed kind of relevant. If somebody could share that with me again, that would be helpful. Okay, so I think other than that, I am ready to begin. I don't, wait, this. I want this to be empty. And so I'm starting with here. I'm moving to here. And then, okay, I'm starting with here. I'm moving to here. Then to here. Then I'm going to, then to here, here, and then I'll need this as a reference. Okay, I think I am ready to begin. Nobody remembers this research that was somebody, I guess I could try to find it myself. Oh, the World Cup started. I made my picks. Want to hear my picks? I don't want to embarrass myself. And I don't want to cause the chat to go off the rails. So maybe I won't give you my picks. I'm in like a, what do you call those things? A pool. Friendly, $5. So I don't think, I don't think I'm going to break the bank here, winning or losing. But I am kind of excited about the World Cup. Okay. It was from Bruno. Oh, first of all, I got to show this to everybody. Please humor me for just one moment. I'm going to go to Twitter. What am I logged in? It's Coding Train, notifications. Let's find mentions. Oh, here it is already. This is like my favorite. All right, so if you watched the stream yesterday. Oops. Okay, hold on. Now I need to, first of all, what's weird is that I'm here in front of it. I need to give you the sound from the laptop, which is not going to come through unless I change. Oh, what a silly world we live in. If I do multi-output device, now you will get it. Okay, ready? I'm going to mute my microphone so I don't talk over this. Oops. Color data should actually be colors. Let me color data based on the way I wrote the code. Stop for a second. I made some errors here. Stop. I made a mistake there. That's kind of information here. So apologies for that. Now it's computer. Bad mistake. Can't get back. I called the thing the wrong name. It's in my video that you're watching now. There's 5 minutes of me just playing the ukulele in front of a green screen. Oh. Thank you. Okay, so thank you for indulging me. I really appreciated that Bruno took the time to remix all that insane footage from yesterday. I was doing something more important though, and I am going to go back here and just put the sound back here. Yes, the surprising pattern behind color names around the world. So let me find that. The surprising pattern behind color names around the world. Okay. All right. So coming back to the chat. Okay. So Okay. I wore the same hoodie yesterday. Have you not noticed that I just wear the same hoodie every day? I do have two of these, though. One says 2017, and this one says 2018, because this is the current ITP Camp hoodie. And I was wearing this one yesterday. I also have some emergency hoodies here, like a unicorn one. This is the old Coding Train branded hoodie. There's a new one that's in the store now. Anyway, I don't know. Let's get started here. Let's cycle these cameras. Definitely going to need to do some whiteboard erasing and using. All right. Hello, I'm back again in my, I think it's the third, I can't keep track of this stuff, video building a classification example using a neural network and TensorFlow.js. So where I last left off, which was actually in real time yesterday, even though you might be watching these in sequence, I built this a simple web app to crowdsource color classification. And the wonderful internet pull requested a bunch of nice features, and so you can see this right here. I'm just going to say this one looks greenish, and oh, look at this. I'm just going to be grayish, reddish. So I'm adding some data, purplish. So thank you to all the people who, you can check the GitHub repository and the commit history to see everyone who submitted a bunch of these changes to improve the visual design. Now, unfortunately, I made a little bit of a mistake, which is that, I don't know a mistake, but I left the database, the Firebase database, completely open. And I thought, why not? It's going to be easiest. I trust you, the viewing audience, to not mess with the database too much. But it went off the rails a little bit. And so I want to thank, I'm totally going in the wrong order here. Let me start over. But maybe it doesn't really matter. I also didn't like that sort of like color that I couldn't see came up. So let me just start over. Choose one. It's not super important in the end. I don't know. Oh, are you all talking about Adam? You know, here's the thing. When people tell me to switch to a different editor because it's better or cooler or more current, that usually has the reverse effect on me. I'm like, no, I'm going to stick with my editor because the point is it doesn't really matter so much. Although it kind of does matter. But let's not discuss. All right. Hello, welcome to the third video in my build a classifier with p5.js and TensorFlow.js, and there's a neural network in there. So I'm really exploring this machine learning library, TensorFlow.js, and I wanted to come up with a creative example that shows the full classification process from collecting data, training, and then deploying a machine learning model. And so the example that I'm working with is this idea of color classification. So I'm crowdsourcing this data from you, the viewing audience. And if I look at this, so you might remember I built this little web app in the previous video, I think, that was yesterday. And then now it's today, 24 hours later, it's been improved. Thank you to the internet, the wonderful people who have pull requested various design fixes and updates. You can check all that out on GitHub to see who the contributors were. Now, let me add a few things here. Brown, that's kind of brown. That's purplish. That's bluish. Now, one thing I will mention, thank you to Bruno, who brought this up in the patron Slack channel. I sort of said yesterday, I just want to pick a trivial data set. I want to make something that's not, that has very little sort of like meaningfulness to it, just to sort of demonstrate the whole process. But there is something kind of interesting going on here in theory, which is that we're looking at human perception, and I'm not mathematically labeling a color according to the RGB values. I'm asking you, the viewers, to tell me what you think a color is. And so there is a lot of interesting scientific research in this area, and I'll reference this video that talks about Berkeley researchers and other research around the surprising pattern behind color names around the world. So there's a lot there that you could dig into. So maybe there's more here than I might originally have thought. The problem with what I built over here is that, you're wonderful. I love all of you who watch these videos and leave me nice feedback, and leave me critical feedback, and all that sort of stuff. But the database a little bit off the rails because I just left the rules wide open. Anybody can write and anybody can read to the database. And so, thankfully, Panzer on GitHub left a pull request analyzing the data and looking at kind of like, okay, well, there's a lot of stuff here that looks wrong. Maybe there were some bots that started classifying colors. And so wrote all these functions to analyze and filter the data. So I encourage you to check out this wonderful pull request. This pull request is now part of the repository. However, I took a slightly different approach, which is, and thanks to me, I am so me, who helped me with this, which is that I changed the rules. So the rules yesterday were just basically read true, write true. These are the Firebase rules. And me, I am so me helped me look into how you could customize the rules. And the things that have been added to the rules now are, we have some things to validate to make sure the RGB values being put in the database are actually numbers. So you can see how this looks here. New data is a number, and it's between 0 and 255. We have something to validate that the label, one of the things that people put other words that weren't part of my set of classification labels into the database. So I have to check that it's a string and that the actual data's value matches this regular expression. So if you've never seen regular expressions before, I do happen to have a video series about that. That you could go watch. But this you can see that it matches any of these dash-ish. So that's protecting. And then authentication was turned on. So what you don't see is that it's anonymous authentication, but you can only write if you've been authenticated. This way, it's anonymous. I can track every person or every entry, and it's not necessarily a person, but every entry from a particular IP address into the database with a unique ID. So if I could see that there's a bot that's just flooding the database, I could either block it or just clean that data out of it. So that's what I'm going to do in this video. I'm going to use a similar approach to this pull request. I'm going to actually read the data from the database, and then I'm going to analyze it and delete stuff if it seems like it's no good, and then download a JSON file that I'll then use in the TensorFlow.js example that I'm going to build. Did I just spend the whole video introducing this topic? I think I might have, but I'm going to move on and keep going anyway. Pause. All right. Please be nice to each other and don't argue about IDEs in the chat. Just for once, on one day, could you just say your IDE is great and so is mine. Isn't it nice how we use two different ones and maybe we could learn from each other? That could be a thing, right? And of course I forgot to reference this, which I wanted to do, but that's okay. I will come back to that. So the next thing I need to do is actually start writing the code to look at the data. I should probably turn off. Now I should set the thing to false. Because I just don't want it to. I think I'm going to set it to false right now. Just so. I'm just setting it to false. So if you're watching this live, you currently can't submit any more entries. So I just want to have it be fixed while I'm doing this. And then this, I can close this. Oh, I should leave Firebase open. It's fine. And then this, I want this to say clean data. Wow, the chat is so quiet today in this. Thank you, Fuji, for repeating my words exactly. All right. So I think I'm ready to do this now. Shoot. Oh my goodness. There we go. Before I dig into the code, let me just reference one more web page to you. I want to show you, this is a project that's at the time of this recording, it hasn't technically been released yet, although you can find it at ml5js.org, and it probably is released now that you're watching this video. But ML5 is a machine learning library built on top of TensorFlow.js that I and other folks at ITP have been working on. And I just want to reference Hannah Davis, who's an artist and researcher, who's a contributor to ML5, wrote this wonderful tutorial about making your own data sets and thinking about questions to ask, in particular about responsible data collection and tagging and crowdsourcing. So hopefully we'll come back to this topic again and again in my video tutorials, but I would encourage you to check this out and really think about it. I mean, one thing we could think about here is, number one, I'm building an example that requires people to see the colors. So what about people who are colorblind, low vision, or blind? That's something I really should be thoughtful about in this example. How can I approach that? And then, who's really able to participate in tagging and submitting data? Who's being left out? So I think the good news for me is that this is meant to be somewhat of a generic tutorial, and the data, while doesn't matter so much if it's perfect, because I just want to show that whole process, but you then actually being a person who might work with machine learning out in the real world, you really want to be thoughtful about that data. And I hope that I can link to more resources about that and cover that more on this channel as well. So, all that aside, now I'm ready to dig in and look at the data and do the thing that's probably going to take me the next 24 hours or 3 days or 3 weeks, try to clean the data and make it usable for me. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so I have a client. I mean, I could do this. I could download the data directly from Firebase and just put it in like a Google Sheet to look at it. That might be useful. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to actually write a P5 sketch or just a JavaScript program to look at the data first. So I have this sketch. All that's in it so far is just that connect to Firebase and authenticate. So what I want to do is to retrieve data. I think I say something like database once value, and then I have a callback like got data. I don't know if this is right. And by the way, I've learned that the JavaScript convention, which is not how P5 necessarily works, is often the error is first as callback arguments, and then the results is second. I don't know. I'm just speculating what the Firebase API might be like. Let's see what happens. Database once is not a function. I probably need .ref. And then I probably need like colors or something, right? It's probably something like this. I could just go and look on the documentation. I also have this Firebase tutorial. Oh yeah, I need the database reference. And then on my tutorial I say .on, but really, got one and got error data. So maybe there's 2 callbacks. Who knows? Who knows? Let's say, let's do this. Let ref equal database ref colors, and then let's say ref once value got data, and let's look and see what comes back. Let's go back to here. All right, something came back. No, nothing came out. 19. Oh no, 18. This is. Hold on, time out a second. Can I take a break for a second? I mean, like, now that I have consistent video editing, I really have a very different way. I'm just like, I just need to take a break and edit it out. I used to do that and never edit it out, and I also couldn't take breaks. Not that I'm taking a break, I just need like a mental break. All right, what's going on here? Maybe I should go back and look at my actual example. Got one, error, data. So let's, that's a pointer to the data, right. So actually the data, so it actually is a separate callback for error, looks like. So I'm gonna like not worry about the error callback right now. I'm gonna use got data. And then let's look at the results. And so yeah, this looks weird, like how could I possibly use this? So what you're actually getting back is like this pointer to the data. You've got to call functions on it to actually look at what's there. So presumably something like results.value is probably what the API is. No, it's not a function. So I have to go back and look at my tutorial. .val, let's try that. Let's try .val. And there we go. Look at this. Oh, it's a lot of data. Boy, the console is not able to render this. So now, is this actually an array? Ah, it's just actually an object with all of the data in it. So I need to turn that into an array. Because I kind of want to loop through it. I wonder what's the, oh, you know what I'll do? This is what I'm going to do. I am going to, so now I'm going to process the data. So first, let me just get all the keys. So I can say object.keys. Oh, so let me just say let data equal results.val. Let's not console log that. Object.keys data. And then console.log keys.length. And I don't need this page anymore. I'm going back to here, clean data. So there's 5,902 entries into the database. This is never going to change because just while I'm recording this video, I shut off the ability to write to the database. OK, so what we can actually start to do now is I could say for let key of keys. And I could say let record equals data key. And I could say console log record. So this is going to log all 5,000 of those one at a time, I think. So I can see these are all, it's just logging every single data point. And we can see that there, for every single one, there's an R, a G, and a B, the label, and then this user ID. So now, I think there was, I'm watching the database this morning, I think there was a bot that was posting to it. So now it's possible it could be that there's just one person who actually clicked a lot of times. But so what I'm going to do right now to just examine the data a little bit is I am going to look at the user ID and count up how many entries for each user ID. So I basically need to do something like a concordance. So if I say UID, if I look at that, we can see there's all the user IDs. And what I want to do now is just associate. So I'm going to just say user ID by count. And I'm going to say is an object. I'm sure there's all these higher order. Oh, sorry, I'm looking at the chat. Pause for a sec. Oh, I could have just done let record of data. Yeah, that would, the of works for an object, not just an array. Huh. Okay, interesting, interesting. Oh, pause for a second, actually. The chat just gave me some good feedback, which, I guess the for of loop will work with an object, not just an array. So I can actually just say let record of data. And let me just do this. No, that didn't work. Data is not iterable. Let record in data. All right, edit that out. Yeah, object.values. Yeah, it's fine. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to keep going. All right. Me, I am to me. You've saved me so many times that you can do no wrong. All right. Data record. Okay. Oh, right. I could anyway. I'm going to do it my way. This is all about learning. I'll do it my way, you do it your way, we learn from each other. OK, so what I want to do is I want to say if user ID by count of that, OK, so I need the ID, which is this. If user ID by count ID, it does not exist, then I want to set it to 1. Otherwise, I want to increase it. And then I want to console log that. So let's look at this. Should give me all the user IDs by how many people, by how many entries they have. So we can look. 35, 33, 78, 147, 208, 189. What's the record here? 201. There was something I've already forgot. 236. So is there anything suspicious here? That's the question. Let me think about this. Well, do you remember the user ID of the thing that we detected was probably a bot? I should sort these. The problem is it's in an object, not an array. It'd be really easy to sort them if I made it into an array. I guess I could have the keys. I should sort them. Let me sort them. All right, it's probably worth me sorting this. This is why I should just put everything into a spreadsheet. But I'm just going to sort it myself. So in order to sort it, I want users. I'm also going to have an array that I'm going to sort. And so if I find a new ID, I'll put that in the array. And then I want to say users.sort. And now I need a comparing function to compare two of them, A, B. And I'm just going to say return user ID by count A minus user ID by count B. So that'll sort the array. And sorting probably makes a new array, I think. I can't remember. Does it change the array or make a new array? So, right, I want to sort the users array, and then I'm just going to do let ID of users. I'm just going to iterate over the array and console.log user ID plus user ID by count for that one. So I know I'm kind of like, whoops. This would be a good time for me to use those new string literals. Someday I'll get to that. So let's take a look at this. What did I get wrong? It looks like I did. That worked. Amazingly, that worked. So we can see somebody just did one. Thank you. Thank you, North, who did one. And then we can see here 236 entries from this particular user. Sort is in place. Okay. So which one is the bot? FPQ. It's this one. Interesting, interesting. Okay. Well, template strings, not template literals. Ah! All right. These, by the way, are called template literals is what I meant. By the way, since I mentioned it, let's actually use it. This is a new feature of ES6. I'm here, why not? Where if I use backtick, I can create a string that's just with variables with this syntax, I believe. Does this go out here? Yes, that goes there. So what this does is, in other words, I could say user submitted. So I can just write a full string, and then basically anything that's in between these $ and curly brackets is rendered as a variable value. So now if I run this, again, I don't know why that didn't. Yes, you can see now it has that full. And I kind of don't want all this extra stuff, but I was just showing you that you can put together a string. And so, okay, so I happen to know, based on earlier research of the day and watching that this particular user is a bot. But I am getting the suggestion from the chat to just discard anything that's over 100. So it looks like this. So those are those are ways that I can do this. Boy, I'm just like stopping and starting like crazy. I'm very sorry, Mattia. It's 12:30. I'm just thinking about the time today and what to do next. I'd really like to visualize this data because I think that would be interesting. Yeah. Both changes the array and returns a new one. OK. Another correction I just got is that I believe users.sort actually changes the array. And since I've started using arrow syntax, I could write it this way, which is perhaps a bit more readable, but who knows? OK, so here's the question. What do I do to clean this data? Well, one thing I could do first is actually analyze it. So no, stop. I'm going to go on to a new. My brain is so faulty today. I'm gonna go to the next. This was long enough, so I'm going to do another part. All right, so the question here really is what to do next. I know that this, from my analysis earlier, looking at the things being added to the database, that this appeared to be a bot. I also could, the chat suggested I could just remove everything that's 100 or more. I'm actually going to stop this tutorial. This was sort of like getting to actually being able to look at the data. And I'm going to do a whole next video because what I think might be useful is actually just look at the data. Because this is information I can visualize. Like I could say, show me everything that's pinkish, show me everything that's bluish. And I could also say, like, ignore this. I could see by user I could actually look at what they assigned. So I could try to see is something really just way out there that maybe I shouldn't include. Okay? So that's what I'm going to do in the next video. I'm going to add some tools to visualize the data. And just while I'm, in case it was mentioned, I apologize that the reading of the database is open. So while you can't write to it right now, you can read from it. And so if you want to use this code is also on that GitHub repo. If anybody wants to try like messing with it themselves, they can. OK. 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 All right, cleaning my data part 2. That's where we are, where I last left off previously on cleaning your data. Whoa, the suspense was killing you, I know. I had just retrieved all the data from Firebase, and I looked at it by anonymous user ID, how many entries had been submitted by each user. And I have a suspicion that some of these that submitted a lot of entries maybe wasn't actually a person doing it manually, and maybe like a bot or something flooding the database. So let's try to investigate that and see what we can figure out. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to visualize the data. I could visualize it by user ID. There's so many things I could do. But let's think about it. So there are how many labels? Let me think about this. OK, this is my sketch. I know what the labels are. So let me just let me just set up a variable called data by, color by label. And this will be an object. And the object will have empty arrays for each one of the labels. So there was bluish. I should have a list of this somewhere. Greenish. I'm doing this manually. I could have actually pulled the labels from the database, but this will be simpler. Greenish, pink-ish. I'm not doing this in any particular order. Grayish, reddish. What am I missing? Purple-ish, There was a brownish. If I go to my crowdsource color, reddish, greenish, bluish, orangish. Did I do orange? I don't think I did orange. Orange. Orange-ish. Purplish, grayish, brownish. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What? I'm missing one. Blue, green, pink, gray. This is not a very systematic way to do this. Red, green, blue, orange, purple, but yellowish. I didn't do yellowish. Okay, yellowish. Now, while I am looping through the data, which I did in the previous video, and I'm going to not worry about this users by count thing right now. I'll come back to that. Ah, shoot. I'm going to not worry about this users by count thing right now. I will come back to that later. What I want to do is, oh, sorry, I do want this. So I want to look at each data point. And I want to look at the RG. So I want to look at the label. And I want to say color by label. And then I want to record.label push. And so I'm going to create a color. Let color equal, I'll use the p5 color function to say record.r, record.g, record.b. Color by label push color. And now what I should have, and I'm really risking breaking the console here, is I should have all the RGB values listed by the label. So let's look at that. Oops, I'm in the wrong sketch. Right? So we can see there's 1,000 blues, 1,600, there's only 235 grays. So one thing that's also important about what I've done with my data set here is I don't have a uniform amount of data points by label. I have many more green ones. And actually, Eric in the patron group made a point that the way the colors are picked, the way my random number generator works, you're going to be more greenish looking colors, which is sort of interesting to think about. But at the very least, what I can do now is I can just draw all of the colors. So I'm trying to think of what I probably want to do, like little rectangles and a P5 canvas maybe. So let me add create canvas. And let's make it 400 by 400. And let's do just one. Let's just start with bluish. And I'm going to say for, let I equal 0, I is less than, so let's see, I'm going to say let blues equal color by label bluish. And I'm going to look at all those. And let's start with an X. Let's start with a Y. Let's say fill blues index I. And then let's draw a rectangle at x, y that's 10, 10. We'll increase x by 10. And if y is greater than or equal to width, then we will reset x back to 0 and increase y by 10. Now this isn't very, again, I'm not being that thoughtful about this, but in theory, I should see now, when I run this, all the blues. Now why did it not wrap around? Oh, if x is greater than width, and I want to say no stroke. And I could sort, I probably would want to sort these too. I could sort them by like brightness. So we can see here, look at this. These are all the blues that were submitted to the database. So, you know what, I kind of don't mind that the data has some noise in it. I mean, big deal. The point of this is to crowdsource it and maybe training the model, if there's enough data, it will sort of filter out the noise. But, you know, and the question is, why is this here? Why is this here? What should I do about that? Let's just look at some other ones. Let's look at red. You can see, okay. What's interesting is I think these are in the order by which they were submitted. So there probably was a time period here where there probably was a time period here where some like bad data was entered. Let's look at green, because green has the most, right? Yeah, it's pretty good. So what do I do? Oh boy, what do I do about this? Thinking, pause for a second. Oh, that's such a good idea. Miyamsumi has a great idea in the chat. Right. Oh, that's a great point. Luke makes a great point. All right, so two great points just came up in the chat right now. One is Luke B writes, pretty good to have the outliers to encourage prevention of overfitting the neural network. So this is actually true in, one thing you have to watch out for is that your model, the model that I'm going to train to do this color classification, what if it just works so well with the training data that it doesn't work so well with new data. And having a bit of noise in the training data can actually help with that. Miyamsumi writes, make it so clicking on a pixel prints who did it, the user ID, that is, and also maybe highlights all the other ones with the same user ID. That I love. So let's add that. That's not going to be the easiest thing, but it's worth doing. Let me see if I can add that. So, okay, so if I click the mouse, mouse pressed, I can sort of, like I would be, in theory, mouse x divided by 10, and j would be, right? This is where I'm clicking. I'm looking for the I and j, not the x and y, like sort of like the I and j of what I'm clicking on. Mouse y divided by 10. And then I should be able to get the index then by saying I plus j times, and then the width divided by 10. Again, I really, really, really should be using variables for these numbers like 10 and putting in variables for like columns and rows. But let's just try this right now. Let's try then saying console.log. And so let me make a, I'm going to call this color, I'm going to call this like label. I'm just going to call this label. And I'm going to, let's go with bluish to start again. So I'm going to use here color by label, and let's make color by label. Color by label already is a global variable. So I'm going to say console.log. Okay, so let data equal color by label, that label. And then I should be able to console log data index. I think this will be right. I might have made some mistakes here. Let's see what happens. All right, let me click here. All right, so I got something. So one thing that's like kind of unfortunate is, I don't have the user ID. I don't have the user. So I got the color, but I'm not actually storing the full data thing. Oh yeah, so color by label. This is what I need to do. I want color by label actually to store the whole record. We don't actually want to store the color. Let's store the whole record. Then when I visualize it, I can just ask for the RGB values. Right? Because then, when I click on something, this is now that entry. So I can see, like, right, if I click on this, we can see, look at this. This user, right, I'm clicking on these, they're all the same user. This user YGDQ seems to have some faulty data. So I could filter out this user. I could do something nice where, like, as I'm hovering, I highlight everything, but I think I'm not going to go that far. I'll let anybody who wants to contribute I'll let you try that on your own maybe. But so let me make a list here. of users that I might want to filter out. Whether I'm happy to have the noise or not, that's a question. But let me just make this a little smaller. It's a little harder for you to see it, but I think it's going to be easier in terms of space. So let's look at a few more that are maybe like clearly not good. Same user. It's all that same user. I haven't found enough. Let's look up here. Different user. So this user also looks like it maybe has some bad data. Oops. Let's look at a different color. Let's look at what was like there was very little of. Grayish. This user is now suspect. You know, the thing is, a user might have misclicked. So unless I see it consistently, yeah, I'm not going to. A user could have misclicked. All right. So you get the idea. OK, so you get the idea. Now, there's so many ways that I could be more thoughtful about this and add more features to work on cleaning the data. But let's just say for right now, and people are suggesting like I could algorithmically, like I could actually evaluate the numbers and see, like compute the hue and see if the hue matches the label. But I specifically do not want to do that. Because what I specifically want from this is this idea of human perception of color, and I don't want to use math. Because I could create my own data set with math of like putting colors into certain buckets. And in a way, I don't even want to do what I just did right here, which is eliminate certain users. And I probably should just visualize what I should do with these users now is actually, let me do this. What I'm going to do with these users now is I'm actually just going to look at all of their entries and see. So let's add that as one more thing. You can stop watching this video and just go on, because I'm going to build a machine learning model in future videos. But if you want to keep watching, let's do one more thing. Like let's take this user. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to comment out this drawing thing that I'm doing. And I want to create a I want to say color data by user. I'm going to make that an array. And I just want to say if record user ID equals a particular user, then I want to say user data. And I could build an interface to do all this. It would be so much better. But I don't really have time to do all that in this particular series. So that might be an exercise you do for yourself. User data.push the record. And then down here, I could use this exact same algorithm. Oh, but you know what? I don't want to do it this way. What I want to do, I'm going to use DOM elements now. I think I'm going to say for let color for let entry, it's an entry like of user data. I'm going to say create a div. I'm going to just make a div, and then I'm going to say div. And actually, let me create a div with entry.label in it. So let's just try this. Oops, not the string. And let me get rid of the canvas. So these are all of this particular user's entries. Maybe I should sort them by, let's sort them by the label. So let's say user data sort A, comma B, return A.label greater than B.label. So this is, whoops. Oh, and I don't need to say return if I use the arrow syntax. I'm really just off the deep end here in this video. I think this is right. That should sort it. Yes, there we go. So we can see now it's, that's weird. Just pausing for a second, there's a great comment in the chat from Sam D. Could we separate out the different things into functions by color, by user, by whatever classifier, rather than commenting out lots of stuff? Yes, this would be an absolutely great thing to do. So I'm going to publish this, and I would love to get user comments and user submissions of like making a nice interface for this. But I'm trying to figure out why it didn't sort this right now. Let's see. I thought sort. Oh, I have to return 0. I can't return true or false. Compare, OK. Oh, because these are strings. Ugh. Yeah. Yes. OK, these are strings. So this is going to give me a true or false, but the sort function wants like a negative or positive number. So I'm actually just going to break this out. I know I could do this with those ternary operators, but I'm just going to say if return 1, else return -1. And this should do the trick, right? So let's take a look at this now. There we go. Bluish, greenish, reddish. So we can see this is now sorted by that particular user. And then all I need to do is add, I need to make something that color box. I guess I could make that a div that lives inside. Color box size. 10, 10, and then color box style. And these are all P5 DOM functions. Background color, now this would be a great time to use those template literals, because what I want to do is say RGB entry.r entry.g. And what happened? Entry.b. Right? This is CSS for making an RGB color, I believe. Let's see how this works. What's the chance this works? OK. Oh, but now what I want to do is say color box parent, and I want it to be inline. So how do I do that? Color box style display inline. Is that what it is? No. Well, you get the idea. And there's some of these, because you can see it's pretty inconsistent. There's just, the colors are just so wildly different that I think we can kind of say that this user we can filter out. And I could look at some of these other users now. Like, let's look at this user. Let's look at this user. Everything seems to be bluish. That doesn't look like great data. And let me look at this user. And again, I'm doing this so manually in my code. I could easily build an interface to look at all this. Grayish, grayish, greenish, greenish, brownish, bluish, bluish. Yeah, this looks too inconsistent. So, it's fine to have some. So I think we're done here. You get the point that we're not completely done, because I want to just like create a JSON file of all of the data. But, and I'll do that in the next video. because I don't know if anybody's still watching this right now. Right, could add some background to the text and some padding. That's a great idea. There's all sorts of ways I could visualize this with if I had any sort of talent or knowledge about CSS and design. But you, the viewer, will hopefully improve this. But you can sort of see the process of looking at the data, visualizing it, and getting a sense of it. And now what I might want to do is actually like filter and save the data. And I will do that in the next video, which will be a very short one, I think. Oh, I forgot to check the bot. Well, let me check the bot. How come I don't have the bot here? Let's do this real quick. Which one was the bot again? This one. What a mess. What a mess I'm making of all this. The bot's not so bad. The bot actually has, the thing that I thought was the bot has good data. That's really interesting. The thing we thought was the bot seems to have good data. My apologies to the bot, or the thing I thought was a bot. I mean, you know, you could make the argument that some of these might not be exactly right. And it's actually only doing blue. Oh, it's only doing, no, it's got pink and orange and purple in there. Huh. That's not a bot. So I was wrong. I thought, so the reason why I thought it was a bot was because the moment I wiped the database at one point, then I just saw consistently at like very distinct intervals, entering stuff in really, really fast. Could have been a person. I'm not sure it's a bot. And it looks like it's generating the data with a hue. So maybe this data is too good. Anyway, I'm not going to worry about this too much. I got to move on. Also, it's 1 o'clock, so I only have about 45 minutes. Yeah, some of those are, you could say are greenish. Oh, and I'm out of my caffeinated beverage, which is really bad. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna let this be. I'm going to let this be. And now I want to make a new, whoops. No. I want to just make a new sketch called download data. And download data. So what do we think? Should I keep this one or sort the entries by their key? Oh, that's interesting. That would be interesting to do. So I am now going to go to download data. And I'm going to get rid of all this stuff. So I just have the stuff I had from before. This should actually be an object. Okay. So my question is, should I filter all 4 of these? Or should I leave that bot one, that one we think is a bot? Are you out there? Are you out there, person who wrote the bot, or human being who wasn't a bot but actually was clicking? Stillian writes, is Dan actually reading these comments? Every once in a while I am, yes. So let's just say we want to filter these out. That's interesting. Simon has an interesting suggestion to say to filter the noise out, you can calculate the average for each color, and if the distance in between each color and the average color is greater than some threshold, you can filter it out. Yeah. So I'm gonna that's the bot is good. Keep the bot. All right. People are saying it doesn't really matter. In the end, the point is for this tutorial series, for me, is to just show the process. And I've said I'd like to do the process in a reasonable manner, but if I can't, I can't. Okay. All right. So now, here we go. Okay. Okay. Whoops. Where's the bot? I felt like I needed to dedicate a song to the bot. FPQSD 6CVNF QM RP JDDIQJM32. Thank you, bot. I don't know, the ukulele was a bad idea. All right, let's move on. I'm going to cycle those cameras. Will I get to TensorFlow.js today? Seems unlikely. Seems unlikely, but not impossible. Not impossible. Oh, hello. I'm here. I'm in part 3 of cleaning the data, supposedly. Whew, it's a lot of work. Just dealing with data is a whole project unto itself. I've been here for like 72 hours straight, and I haven't even looked at TensorFlow.js yet. I'm just looking at my data, and all I'm doing is color classification. All right. I kid a little bit, but it's true. It's true. So this is the third video. If you watch the previous 2, I started trying to visualize what the data looked like and kind of examine, are there certain users that I should filter out that's bad data? Maybe I should just leave it all in there anyway. I'm trying to build a model that looks at a color and classifies it into one of these buckets, and this is my crowdsourced system that allows people to look at colors and click on one of these buckets. So this is a little bit about like human perception. What does the eye sort of see in terms of RGB color? All right, so the code base that I'm starting with is from the previous video. I'm just connecting to the Firebase database, and I am looping through and looking at each record one at a time. Each record has a user ID, which is anonymous. It has an R, a G, a B, and a label. So I determined, not somewhat loosely, I really needed to spend more time and be more thoughtful about this. There's an extra comma here, that these are the 3 users that I would like to filter out. So what I want to do in this video by the end of it is have a JSON file that I can print if I wanted to. I'm not going to print it. Hold in my virtual hands. These are my real hands. And use that to actually build a machine learning model from. So all I need to do if I want to filter these out, what I did is I made an object that just has those 3 user IDs as keys, arbitrarily with a value of true. And then what I can do is I could say if filter does not include this record's user ID, and so let's just say let ID equal record user ID. If it's not in the filter, let's make let's say all data is a big array. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it an object. You'll see why in a second. That has, I'm just going to call it like entries, which is an array. Then I'm going to say all data.entries.push that record. So what I want to do is I want to look at every single data point, and again, there's probably some nice higher order function I could do this in one line of code, but I'm doing this very manually. I'm going to look at every record. I'm going to check the user ID. As long as that isn't one of my user IDs that I'm filtering out, I'm going to put it in my all data.entries array, and then I'm going to say save JSON color data.json all data. Now this is a P5 function that will then put this JSON file into my downloads directory. And I could be doing this in Node and server side. There's no reason for me to have client side code doing this, but that's what I'm doing right now. So let's run this and see what happens. This is my download data script. Okay, a index of is not a function, Firebase. I don't know, save JSON. Ooh, okay. So this maybe, let's look at, maybe it's actually goes like this. The data and then the file name. I think that's what it is. Yes, there we go. So we can see right here, this downloaded. Now I can take a look at this file. I can open that file up, and we can see, there we go. Here is my data set. Hey, this was the shortest video ever. So now I have this data set. Do I want to, so things that I need to do is I need to normalize the data set, and I need to assign the labels numeric values, because I'm going to need that for what I want to do with TensorFlow.js. So I think I'm going to need to reshape the data and turn it into tensors. I'll do that in the next video. I might as well just keep sequencing this. So, maybe you could be more thoughtful about, I don't know what, I'm trying to give you an exercise to do at the end of this video. I got nothing for you. But you could build an interface for this where you could, maybe you could port this to like a server-side script. Maybe you could save it to a CSV file. Those are some things you could try. But in the next video, what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually start working with TensorFlow.js. I need to turn all of these things into tensors, because tensors are the thing that I need to train my machine learning model. Whew. Goodbye. Oh, wait a second. No, did I get the removed ones by accident? No, I don't think so. No, these are the not removed ones. I did something in reverse here. All right, let's see. Did I? I think if it's not there, add it. I think I'm okay. Let me not save the JSON file again. Yeah, 5643. I think I'm good. Oh, the bot. Yes, the bot is in there. Yeah, I got it. I got it correct. All right. I'm probably going to be coming back on Monday to finish this. Go watch Morning Tea with CJ. It's on YouTube right now. I'm getting a notification. 112. I'm running out of steam here. Boy, this is a lot of work. Okay. So now what I need to do, desktop. What am I looking for? P5 TensorFlow. Okay. Color classifier. So this is now. Oh, I need to. Now I need to get myself a reference to TensorFlow.js. No more Firebase. Color classifier. And then I need the JSON file. And let me rename this to 1, because I might kind of save it, the source code with each one. Okay. Okay. Don't overcharge my laptop. Oh my goodness. Okay. So what's next here? Let me erase the whiteboard. So many things to discuss. I've got to talk about softmax, cross entropy. These are new concepts that I haven't used in any video before. One-hot encoding is something that I'm going to want to discuss. By the way, my plan in my head is is to make a ML5 version of this, in which you don't have to architect the model, and you also don't have to worry about like the one-hot encoding, which I realize most of you watching this probably don't know what it is. I didn't know what it is till very recently, and I'm not even sure I know what it is, but I think I know what it is. I'm conflicted about how I'm doing this because I'm all in like a sort of strange order, but it is what it is. Okay. Well, I definitely want to do some Word2Vec stuff. Yes. Matthew Cohen in the chat suggests. Okay. Okay. All right. This video merits a train whistle. I am in my series. I'm on video 731 or something like that, about building a color classifier. I'm trying to look at the overall concept of machine learning and building a color classifier. So where am I? I spent a bunch of videos kind of crowdsourcing and cleaning data. And where I left off, I have this JSON file that has a whole bunch of data points in it. Each entry has an RGB value and a label. So there are 9 labels. And there are obviously millions of possibilities for the RGB values. So what's the next step here? Oh, so many things to think about. Let's go back to this tutorial that I referenced that's part of the ML5 project called Making Your Own Data Sets. This is by artist and researcher Hannah Davis and other contributors who may have also edited this page, but it started with Hannah Davis. I'll link to information about her and this video in this page in the video's description. Now, one thing you want to look here that I think is important is preparing your data set for machine learning. Training, testing, and validation. So I forget, the first thing, let me do something first here. Let me actually write some code, strangely enough. And I've got P5 loaded up here as kind of like a base JavaScript library that I use. And I'm going to add the preload function. And I'm going to say let data. And I'm going to say data equals load JSON. And it's called color data.json. So I just want to load that file. And then I'm going to say console.log data.entries.length. So let's just see how many data points do I have. Let me make sure I can indeed load that file into my code and look at how many data points I have. So here we go. Oh, I'm in the wrong sketch. I changed it to here. 5,643. I can read numbers. Is that number perhaps that number could be found somewhere in my random number book, but I'll look for it later. So okay, why did I say that? So if we come over back to this page that I was referencing, and we need to, if I'm going to build a classifier, the way I'm going to do this is by having training data and testing data. Now, there is also something called validation data. And let's go look back at this web page. Training data set is used to train the model. Validation data sets are used to change the parameters of the model. So I'm going to, for the purpose of this video, kind of simplify by not worrying about validation data. And I am just going to use training data and testing data. And the idea here is that what I want to do is train the model with my training data, but then I want to feed it the testing data and see if the labels that it returns, oh, it thinks this color is bluish, is that actually what it is labeled with? And I'll get some type of accuracy score from that. And I'll know more about, I don't want to test it with stuff that I've trained it with, because of course it's going to ultimately get that right. Machine learning models are very good at returning the result that you tell them about. And we need to see, does it also return the result of new data that it hasn't been trained with? If it works really well with the training data, but not with the testing data, this can be known as overfitting, meaning the model is just incredibly good. It's so exact that it doesn't really know what to do except for like the exact data that it was trained with. So this is what we want to watch out for. And a kind of convention, let's say I have 5,000 data points. A convention might be to use 80% of those. So 10% is 500, so like 4,000. 4,000 is 80% of 5,000, I think, as my training data, and then save 1,000 or 20%. 1/5 as my testing data. All right, so I need to, at least at the beginning right now, divide it, and I might just sort of pick randomly to divide it up. Okay. What I like is that when I switch cameras, I can easily have like a little break for a second. Not easily, but I'm going to cycle these because I don't know when I last cycled them. What time is it? Ooh, 1:20. Okay, we're okay. I'm going to be here another half an hour, and then I've got to go, I think. So the question, though, is, the thing that I need to figure out is, should I split up the data before I convert it to tensors, or should I convert it to tensors and then split it up? Anybody have an opinion of what's going to make the most sense? I really could use some water. Maybe I'll just split it up. I'm going to split it up. because it's going to be so easy to do. And that's what I was just talking about. The chat is so far behind, like 30 seconds behind real time. Convert, then split. No, people are, that was the first comment that came, convert, then split. Which was different than where I arrived to in my head. Clean the data first, then split it. First make the tensor, then split. Alexa, flip a coin, yeah. Is there a convention? What would be the convention? Okay. Convert first so you can use the GPU optimally. Yeah, because the tensors have functionality probably to split, right? I assume that, right? Like scalar, buffer, clone, same values, fill. There's one hot I'm definitely going to need to do. Truncated, no. Variable, no. Zeros. Flat, no. Scalar, 1D is 2D, 3D. To float, to int, tool. Reshape. Reshape as, expand. Squeeze, clone. Huh. Don't normalize the data altogether. Separate training and testing first. That sounds like a very, that sounds like that was written with conviction. It made an impact on me. I feel like just narrative-wise, with the flow that I'm doing, I'm actually going to split it, and then I'll write a function that makes a tensor from... Yeah, I don't know. I never know what to do here. There is a tf split function. How come I didn't see that? All right, let me look at this. Whoa. Number or size of splits. The dimension along which to split. Well, this seems confusing to me. Either an integer indicating the number of splits along the axis or an array of integers containing the sizes of each output tensor along the axis. So I definitely can use that. It just hurts my brain to think about how to do it exactly. Like if this is a 2D tensor, and then it splits, I want to see what this does. Let me try to understand what this does. So let me think about what I'm going to have. I'm going to have a tensor for the RGB values that looks like this. Like 1, 1, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? This is what I'm going to have. Let me just work this out right now. So that's what I'm going to have. I'm going to have like multiple RGB values. So if I want to say, split it into train and test, I would say tf split x I'm lost here. Let me read that documentation again. Number or size of splits. The number of splits along the axis. I just want to split once. And then I guess I'm going to give it like, let's say if I give it 1, 2, shouldn't I get, and then I say train.print and test.print. Well, hold on. Let me comment this stuff out here. All values in axis param must be in range -2 to 2, but got access to. Oh. No. Must evenly divide the axis. It has to do it in half? Hold on. What if I just give it 2 arguments? Ah! Well, I lost my console. Oh, P5, don't tell me about this. Cannot read property print of undefined at sketch.9. Let's see, is anybody in the chat helping me? Ideally, you'd have the same proportion of each label in the test set and the training set. Yes, that's very important. So, I mean, if I had like a huge data set and I just split it up randomly, it would sort of probably stay somewhat uniform. Clearly don't understand how TF split works. I just assumed somebody in the chat would give me the answer. My brain just stopped thinking. I guess I have to figure this out myself. Size of each, oh. So couldn't I do this? Like 2, 1? Right, and that would give me, yes, that's what I want. So like it's splitting it up. So if I had 5,000, then I wish I could do this by percentage. Like I could just say like 80%, 20%, but no. Okay, so I'm gonna convert all of it, and then I'm going to shuffle it and then split it. Okay. Boy, I really don't remember where I was in this whole thing. All right, so the next step that I'm doing here, all right, let's see. I think I actually already said that. Okay, so conceivably what I want to do now is look at this data.entries and divide it into 2 different arrays, training and testing. But here's the thing. What I want, I'm kind of talking myself in circles here, but I don't want to split it just yet, even though that was an important point for me to make. I'm using TensorFlow.js here, and TensorFlow.js actually has a function called split that will let me take a long list of data points and split them into 2 different lists of data points. So what I actually want to do first is get the data into tensors, the TensorFlow.js thing that I need to use it, and then I'll call tf.split to do the 80-20 split. So how am I going to do this? How am I going to convert it into tensors? Now, first of all, if you have never looked at TensorFlow.js before, I might encourage you to go watch my TensorFlow.js tutorial series, and it looks at what is a tensor and what are the possibilities there. But just thinking about it, the thing that I need to do also is think about, I have the inputs, which are the RGB values, and then I have the target outputs. The target outputs, which are the labels. And so when I create my tensors, I'm actually going to do this somewhat separately. So let's just worry only about the inputs. This is going to be the easier part first. So the inputs, basically, the tensor shape that I want is a 2D tensor, right? Because each input has 3 values, maybe a R, G, and a B value. And then I have a lot of those. So a 1D tensor, like a one-dimensional array, just has a single set of RGB values, but I have a 2D tensor because my data set is a whole bunch of those data points. Okay? So let me first just create a tensor 2D out of all of the RGB values. Oh. So by the way, in addition to, when I get to fit, there's a fit actually will split the data up for me. Now I can't remember. Let me just go quickly look at my XOR code. I just want to see something in there really quickly. Mathieu, this doesn't need to be part of the actual tutorial. Just want to check something. I can't remember. Yeah, I separated it into X's and Y's. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Where am I here? Okay. And by the way, if you watched my XOR coding challenge, where I did kind of a basic, where I trained a neural network to solve exclusive OR, I also was calling these X's. Can you see that? Barely. And the outputs being the Y's. So that's the X's are like the inputs to the machine learning model. The Y's are the outputs. So I might use that variable naming as well. OK, now I'm really going back to the computer. And I'm going to say, so let me first, to make a tensor, I need to normalize the data and put it into arrays. Whew. So let me go here and say, first I'm going to say let the colors be an array. Then I'm going to go through, let every record in data, let record of data.entries. I'm going to say colors, and then I'm going to say I'm going to have a specific color. I'm not going to use the word color, just going to say COL is record.r divided by 255, record.g divided by 255. And I'm dividing by 255 because I want to normalize. Generally speaking, for my inputs to a machine learning model, I want to normalize to some strict range. Between 0 and 1 is a pretty good one to do. And then I'm going to say record.b divided by 255. And then I'm going to say colors.push col. And then just going to look at this, colors. Let's just look at this. So this is not a tensor yet. This is just 5,000. And probably one thing I should do while I'm working this out is I should work with like a smaller data set. But 5,000 is so small anyway. But if I were doing this with like a big data set that had like 5,000 records in it, I'm like sort of figuring out I would want to do it for just like 100 first, and then I could use the large data set. OK. So we can see here this is a big array, and each element of that array is another array with the normalized color values in it. Perfect. So this now, I should be able to say now, let x's equal tf tensor 2D colors. So this is me turning those values. And I just want to say like console.log x's shape. Let's look at the shape of the x's just to sort of see. Yes, right? There's 5,643 entries, each with 3 values. So I think things are going right here. I turned that into a tensor, and then, oh boy, hey, this wasn't so hard. We're in good shape here. I haven't done the training or testing. Now I need to do the Ys. The Ys involve a concept known as one-hot encoding, I think. One-hot vector. So you know what? I'm going to pause here. I finished this video. I'm really dividing this series into like little chunks here. In the next video, I'm going to look at how to make the Ys, and I'm going to cover a concept known as one-hot What's the term that I'm looking for? Is it one-hot encoding? One-hot encoding, yes. So I'll cover that in the next video when I make the Ys. Thanks. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to need to one-hot encode the labels. Okay. I actually don't know how to do this with TensorFlow.js. I think there's a one-hot function. Let me just look. tf one-hot. So you give it. Let me try to understand this. Okay. One hot, 1D. That's weird. Oh. So if I were to do this, if I have a tensor that's like this is what I have. I have like, I have 9 possibilities, right? So let's say I make an array that's all of the index values for the labels. So if I say these are like the labels, right? And then I could say the y's would be tf one hot, the labels, comma 9, right? Yep. Cool. OK, I know how to do this now. Excellent. Woo, this is fun. I think this might be where I stop today. All right. What if I'm going to kill the console if I do this, right? Oh, no. Oh, it's smart. It's smarter than me. Oh, I love how it's smart. OK, great. OK. Oh, this is good. This is good stuff. If there are 9 labels and a data point is categorized as label 3, then the one-hot encoding would be 0, 0, 1. No, 3. If they're 9, 3, so it's a third, so it would really be index 2, yeah. Because the indices would be 0 through 8, right? 0 through 8. 0, 0. So the label is 3. It's really the 4th. Index 3. Index 3. There's 9. 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. OK. Yeah, this is going to be much easier than I thought. Thank you, TensorFlow.js. OK, we're still working with our data. At some point, we're going to start training a model. What have I done so far? OK, so just to recap for a second. I've got this whole database of crowdsourced colors with a label. And now I've converted all that stuff to tensors. So, and I'm just looking at the inputs now, the inputs that I want to use for my machine learning model. So I have 5,643 RGB values. So the shape of the tensor is 5,643, 3, and I can look at it here. I have all the RGB values normalized to 0, between 0 and 1. Now, I need to do the Ys. I need to figure out what are the target outputs associated with each RGB value. And this is exciting, because we are going to cover, we being me and you being the person watching, I am going to cover a concept known as one-hot encoding. So we have to understand why we're going to do one-hot encoding, we need to jump all the way to what would essentially be like the very end of this video series. What am I asking the neural network that I'm going to build, right? The neural network that I'm going to build is going to have 3 inputs, R, G, B. It's going to have some architecture, some configuration of all the stuff in the middle. And then the idea, I'm getting a phone call, really? And my volume is on, and my watch is giving me a notification. By the way, it says, I wish you could see this. It says scam likely. That's the decline, turn off the volume, off the notifications. I was so thrilled about this video topic. I don't know, we can leave that in there, I don't care. The inputs being RGB, what do I want the outputs to be? The output should be a label, right? I want to say, is it reddish? Is it bluish? But this is just the label that I've used as a human being to say what I think it is. Like if I was doing image classification, the label would be cat, or dog, or rainbow, or unicorn. But those strings are not going to be meaningful in the sort of numbers-based neural network system that I'm building. I need this to return a number. So we could think if there are 9 possible labels, I could return the number 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8. Now, while I could try to do something where I just have one output, and that's a floating point number that kind of I round to the nearest integer that indicates the label, that's not going to work so well. What I actually really want is I want a probability value. I want a probability value for each one of these labels. So we could imagine if there are 9 labels, 9 is such a, I should have made it 10. If I could travel back in time and start this whole series over, I would have made 10 labels because all this would be so much easier to work out. But imagine there are 9 labels. I don't know why I'm drawing it like this, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And what if I had a probability? Like, oh, there's a 10% chance it's the first label, and there's a 20% chance it's the second label, and then 0, 0, 0, 0, and then a 70% chance 0, 0, right? All of these values might add up to 100%. And we could say, it's most likely this one, which is index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which maps to, purplish. So I'm trying to create the target outputs. If I know that this particular color should be purplish, the target output that I want is actually 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9 labels, 0 through 8 indices. This is one-hot encoding. I am taking the idea of index 6 and making a vector, a one-dimensional vector, full of zeros with a 1 in the spot that matches the label. A 100% chance, because if the neural network was working perfectly, this is the output that I would get. So one-hot encoding is the idea of creating your vector, having all zeros and sort of flipping a bit on in a way, and just one of them, a switch goes on, and that's assigned 1. Now, I could come up with an algorithm pretty easily, probably not easily, but I could work hard on it and try it. It would be hard. And I could say, take all of my labels, and I could convert every single label into an array with a 1 in the right spot. Luckily for us, we're using TensorFlow.js, and it has a function called tf.1hot. So I'm going to create the y's for this system using the tf.1hot function, and that's what I'm going to go do next. Hold on a sec, everybody. Yeah, default ringtone. I don't usually, embarrassing. I don't even have the chat open yet. Oh, I'm looking at my email. Okay. All right, so let's go look at the code. And now what I need to do, I made this colors array. Now let me make this labels array. And if I say labels.push, now here's the thing. What I want is for this, I could just push the label in it. So let's just do that. A record.label. Let's just look at this real quick. And I'm going to comment out the console logging, and I'm going to say console.log labels. So let's just see. This should be, right? This is all the labels, the strings of the labels. So the first thing I need to do is convert each one of these into an index value. So I need a mapping for that. And I really wish, I should have this somewhere, but I'm just going to, just create something called labels index really quick. And I did this in a previous, where did I do this? Didn't I do this in one of my other examples? I have like an array of all the labels. Ah, here we go. So here's one of my examples. I had all the labels. I lost where I was. So I'm going to paste this in here. I'm going to search buttons.push create button. I'm just going to eliminate this, replace all. I don't need that. And then, I want the apostrophe. I'm going to put that back in. I could have used like a regular expression, but no, sorry. I can't believe you're watching a video where I am clumsily trying. Okay, let's see if it just comes back. Okay, I think I'm just back. I think it just comes back now that I'm doing this event thing. So if you could tell me in the chat that I'm back. Okay, it's back. Great. Sorry about that. So I don't know, the computer froze. I restarted. I don't have the YouTube chat up. And I think hopefully the sound, so let me grab that real quick. History. Whoops. And the cameras are all shutting off, which is fine. Let me just get the YouTube chat back up here so I can see it. Okay. So I don't know what YouTube is going to have in the end. Oh, was I did I write something way out of bounds? Oh, tf.1hot. That's fine. That's fine. All right, so let me go back. I was about to do this, which now I feel like is silly. Like, shouldn't I just make an array? Shouldn't I just make an array of the labels, and then I could get the index, right? Isn't there must be a way, like, right? Whoa, what happened to the Chrome? Chrome died. Don't need this. Why do I have this like debugger thing on? Where did that come from? How did I get this? What is this thing? Go away. What is this tab here? I've never seen that tab. Oh, hide. There we go. Okay. One single array of strings, right? Like what if I do, right? Then I can say index of B, right? Yeah, okay. So that's what I'm going to do. I don't know why I didn't think of that before. Okay, so let me go back. Mathieu, I'm going to go back to where I was looking for the list of labels. So I need to find that list of labels, which I believe I had in the original crowdsource color thing. No, wait, hold on. Hold on. Where actually was that? Oh yeah, here it is, okay. Okay, sorry. Download data, sketch, color classifier. Where am I? Okay, hopefully this will edit together fine. I'm going to just, yeah. All right, so I need to find my list of labels. I could just type them out. Labels, oh no, but all labels equals, I could say label list. Let me call it label list. Grayish, bluish, but I have that right here, right, in crowdsource color when I made those buttons. These are all the labels, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So if I come back to what I'm doing here and just put this here, and then let me just do a find replace. Whoops. Let me do a find replace for just this. I just need to get rid of this. Boy, yes, you're watching me like failing at doing find replace. And then let me look for ish and replace that with ish, comma. There we go. Now I have my array, my label list array. So now what I want to put in the labels array is not the actual string of the label, but label list index of that label. So the index of function, I need another parentheses there. The index of function will say, look for this particular element in the array and give me back its index. So let's look at that now. Let me run this again. And we can see, there we go. Now I have 5,643 index values. And guess what? This is when I now want to go, and I apologize, I wrote tf.1hot up there. You can't see it. So let me just write that again. tf1hot is the name of the function. Let's go to the TensorFlow.js documentation page right over here. And look, I already have it open to 1hot. How convenient. And basically, this documentation, let's see if we can understand this. I need to give it all the indices. That's what I already have. Oh, but you know what? These have to be a tensor already. So first I need to make a tensor of all those indices. Let's do that. So I want to say let label tensor, labels tensor, let's call it, equal tf tensor 1d labels. And let's say, let's just look at that, labels tensor.print. Let's just make sure that's kind of right. We can see that's a big, long tensor of all of the labels. And then now the y's is tf.1hot. So if I go back and look at this, 1hot needs the list of all of those index values, which are 0 through 8, and the depth. The depth means how many possibilities are there, and there are 9 possibilities. And on value will default to 1, and the off value defaults to 0. But if for some reason I wanted to 1hot encode with 3, the number 3 for every spot, and the number 0.1 for every non-spot, I could change those values. But all I need to do then is say 1hot labels tensor and 9. And then I can say y's.print. So x's.print and y's.print. So now I have my x's and y's. I remember the previous video I did this. I looked at all the RGB values. I divided by 255. And then I lost my train choo-choo of thought here. And then I made those into a 2D tensor. And now I've made the y's. And what I do want to see is console log. Let's look at x's.shape and console.log y's.shape also. Okay, ready? Let's look and see if everything seems right. Indices must be of data type int32. Oh, interesting. So when I made this tensor, my labels, if we look at them, are actually, like if I go back and console log the labels, those are floating point numbers because I wasn't really worrying about it when I was just working with regular JavaScript arrays. But I need to very specifically make sure that I set the data type. Index values for a 1hot vector cannot be floating point values. So I think if I do this, we can see that fixed it, right? So now I have the shape, right? This makes sense. There's 5,643 data points. Each data point for the inputs, for the x's, has an RGB, that's 3. And there are 9 possible labels. So I have the shape is 5,643, 9 possibilities, and each one of those just is 1hot encoded. So this means bluish, and this means purplish, or whatever the mapping is, I don't remember. The second one is greenish, and 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The sixth one is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is pinkish. That's the sixth one. Yes, whatever. So this is going to be really important. Which labels actually go with which index values is something that I'm going to have to save for the duration of this project, because when I show the results to the user, I want to actually show the strings, not the number value. Okay, so I am now ready to try to fit. First, I have to, so what's next? I need to architect the model, right? I got all of the input data, and I got all of the output data. I need to divide into training and testing, architect the model, fit the model, and then I'm sort of done, maybe. So that's going to be like many more videos into the future. So I got at least 3 or 4 little more steps to build here until I have this like final version of this color classifier built with TensorFlow.js. Oh, dispose. Wait. Don't leave just yet. Wait, don't leave just yet. I do want to think about memory management, and maybe I'm going to think about memory management later, and the X's and Y's I'm going to want to use in the next video, but I probably should after I make the one hot vector. I don't need, when I'm working with lower level TensorFlow.js, I've got to clean up stuff I'm not going to use anymore, and I don't need these labels anymore, so I can dispose that one. So that was just the last little tidbit here, and then I'll move on. In the next video, I'm going to start creating the architecture of the neural network model itself. And, I'm going to introduce some new concepts, softmax and cross entropy. Isn't that exciting? Okay. All right. Oh, my boy. Okay. All right, everyone, it's 2 o'clock. I didn't get through this whole thing. I have to stop. So the rest, I think I'm going to be back on Monday. I'm going to see if I can finish this on Monday. But stay tuned. And I'll be back on Monday. I don't know what else to say. Any questions? Really out of tune. Can you make music tutorials? No, definitely not. Alka! Did Alka maybe just woke up and is now watching? It says Alka is typing. All right, so let me just mention a couple things. I hope to be back on Monday. I will not be here definitely any day next week, Tuesdays through Friday, because I am traveling, unless I do some kind of crazy live stream from my television phone. But I will be traveling the rest of next week. I'm also moving to a new apartment, so I've got a lot of stuff to deal with. Could you go on green screen and come in saying, wait, I have an idea? Yes, I can. Should I be playing the ukulele or no ukulele? We'll definitely indulge Alka in this. Do you really know how to play the guitar? Nah, no. I mean, that's a ukulele, which I bought 2 weeks ago and tried to teach myself some chords. So that's about as far as I am. All right. Green only. Okay. Wait. Wait a sec. Wait. You guys know I'll always stay for wasting time. I just can't do any more coding. My brain is fried. Wait. Wait, please wait for me. Oh, wait for me. Wait. That's got to be good enough for whatever you're cooking up, Alka. Oh, Simon writes, great timing. I'm entering the tunnel now, so we'll probably lose it for it. You've been watching this while driving or on a train? That's amazing. Can you reopen entries on the color classification database just for fun? Yeah, why not? Why not? How do you manage time with a uni and a YouTube channel, writes Art? It's, you know, I think that I need to manage my time better. And I need to, the other thing is I have a project that I really want to do this summer, which is an updated version of the Nature of Code book. And I think that I need to take a break from live streaming or like slow that down a little bit to give myself more time to work on that. But now that I have the Patreon and the sponsors, I'm sort of not sure how to do that because I want to keep the content going. So, but let me turn the let me turn the writing to the database back on, I guess. So rules and write is true. Okay, you can write to the database again. Ricardo asks, are you a uni professor? So I teach at New York University, part of a program called ITP, which is part of Tisch School of the Arts. And you can find out more information on the website. And this fall, we're starting a new undergrad program. So, woohoo! No, remove the false and, yes. Oh, that's, yes. Ah, shoot. No. That didn't just happen. Quick, I totally did the wrong thing. Totally did the wrong thing. Rules, quick, let me put this false. All right, so there was a brief moment in time where the whole thing was open to writing anything, but now this is what I want to remove. Thank you very much. Okay, everything should be okay now. All right. Belisarith asks, Dan, could you please explain how to get the Slack invitation? So unfortunately, or for better or worse, the Slack invitation is only open to either sponsors of the YouTube channel or patrons via Patreon. And you can find more information about that at Patreon/CodingTrain, or there's like a sponsor button already as part of the YouTube channel. I don't love the idea of having a closed community that requires people to pay, but it is, at the moment, the benefits that I get out of it is it's a smaller group of people who are sort of dedicated to participating in the community of the channel. And it helps me make these videos, having the funding, frankly. It allows me to have more time to do it, and it sort of makes me feel like it's an obligation in a good way, I think. So that's at the moment the system I have. I am very happy for people to self-organize into their own free and open communities. I want to do more to be able to have the audience of this channel be more inclusive. And I'm always open to anyone who has any thoughts or ideas that can help and ways for me to think about doing a better job with that. Tips on time management. I got nothing for you. But if you do sponsor the channel, if you do sponsor the channel, I don't, and also sign up via Patreon. I don't have a good system of. There's no automatic system. I have to add you to Slack manually. So you can, the best way would be to like tweet me at Schiffman, but if you're a sponsor on YouTube, if you go to the community tab, there's a post there that has a link to a Google form that's only for sponsors, and Patreon, I get your email, and I send an invite, but sometimes it ends up in a spam folder, and sometimes I forget. Link to the site with colors. The site with colors is github.com. Crowdsource. And I also should say, one of the things that I'm not able to do effectively is manage all the pull requests and issues on these GitHub repos. I would love, I do consider that a possibility of that could actually be like a paid position of somebody who's a community manager for all of the GitHub repos. But I haven't figured out, A, if I have the budget to do that and who the right person would be for that. At the moment, there are a lot of wonderful volunteers who help, who are members of the Coding Train GitHub organization and help kind of like manage and pull requests and write to issues here and there as they have time. Oliver posted in the YouTube channel. Okay, and so here it is right here. This is at present. Let's just make sure this is working again. Yep. So now this is once again accepting new data points for the color classifier. Okay. Oh yes, and Merin, thank you, and so many wonderful members of the community that I can't seem to remember to mention. I am in New York City. I'm not in Hong Kong. Ricardo asks, are you familiar with functional programming in JS? Ooh. Ada asked, almost to 500,000 subs. How do you feel about that? I'm very excited. I feel very honored or humbled, those kind of words. I feel a little bit surprised. Like I did not, this was not my expectation for the channel. I feel like I need to do better. I'm always trying to improve what I'm doing. And yeah, it's exciting. I would like to do something to celebrate 500,000 subscribers. I should probably do, I was saying that I should just do whatever is the suggestion number 500 in here, which is make an AI that solves the 15-tile sliding puzzle. So I might try to do that at some point. If anybody has any other ideas for celebrating 500,000 subscribers, assuming not everybody doesn't just unsubscribe right now, which would be fine also. Yeah. This has been a really great stream, writes Kay Wickman, like a microcosm of the entire data science pipeline. It's really nice to hear, because this is a new, I don't know what my expertise is exactly, but certainly data science and working with machine learning, this is not something that I spent years and years studying and thinking about. It's something that I've come to as a person who worked on kind of open source creative coding platforms for many years. All right. I'm now going to leave the station. Thank you for tuning in. I hope to come back and finish this color classifier on Monday. Next week is a really hard week for me. So it's not confirmed that I'm doing that until you see it scheduled on YouTube itself. If you're wondering how to get a notification, you hit the subscribe button, the alarm bell, all that sort of stuff. All right, so I'm going to hit stop streaming. And I'll see you hopefully on Monday, if not whenever at some point at the end of June. Again, remember, I'm going to be away for half of July. So this will be a little bit lighter over the summer during July and August. But also, when I'm here, I might do 2 live streams in a week like I did this week. Does YouTube, Ngram STE asks, does YouTube have an API that you could use for some cool data visualizations for 500K subscribers? Word cloud of comments, or maybe I could visualize like all the locations all over the world where people are. I don't know if I have access to that data. So yeah, I would consider that. That's kind of like a fun idea. So let's discuss that in the Slack channel. I would love to hear more suggestions. Okay, goodbye everybody. See you next week, hopefully, if not the week after. Hopefully, if not, definitely sometime in July. Stay tuned. I'll be posting on Twitter if I remember when I'm live streaming. Actually, at the Coding Train auto tweets at Shiftman if I remember. And then, what was I going to say? And then also I schedule it on YouTube now. Okay, goodbye. Oh no, I don't hit stop streaming there. I have to do it here. Stop streaming, there we go.